Some tourist destinations charge more than just an entry fee, they might very well cost you your life. Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, is home to one such perilous destination, the Death Zone. This notorious stretch of Everest lies above 26,000 feet, where the air becomes so thin and the conditions so extreme that human life teeters on the brink. Spending more than 16 hours in the death zone exponentially increases the risk of never returning home, and staying longer than 48 hours almost guarantees it. Climbers entering this lethal area face not only the challenge of their physical endurance but also the raw brutality of nature itself. Winds can howl at speeds exceeding 62 miles per hour, capable of sweeping climbers, their gear, and any obstacles in their path into oblivion. Surviving in this region is no easy feat. The oxygen levels here are a third of what they are at sea level, making it nearly impossible to function without supplemental oxygen. Only a select few individuals have ever conquered the death zone's merciless environment, and even those who have done so often rely on oxygen tanks. One remarkable individual managed to survive 21 hours in this hostile environment without the aid of supplemental oxygen, a record that still stands to this day. This individual climbed Everest 10 times, each time pushing the boundaries of human endurance. His fastest ascent to the summit took just under 17 hours. However, Pemba Dorje Sherpa shattered that record, making it to the top in an astonishing 8 hours and 10 minutes. These climbers, both from Nepal and of Sherpa descent, possess a unique physiological advantage. The Sherpa people, native to the Himalayan region, have evolved over generations to thrive in high-altitude conditions, allowing them to perform feats that most humans can only dream of. Despite the severe and often deadly risks, Everest continues to draw adventurers from across the globe. The mountain's allure, its towering presence, and the challenge it presents prove irresistible for those seeking the ultimate test of human endurance. Unfortunately, many of these adventurers never make it back. Since climbing records began, over 300 people have lost their lives attempting to conquer Everest, with 18 fatalities recorded just last year alone. As of July 2024, the death zone has already claimed 8 more lives this year. For the families of those who perish in the death zone, the tragedy doesn't end there. Recovering bodies from this extreme altitude is both a dangerous and expensive operation. Oxygen alone, necessary to sustain the team involved in such a retrieval, can cost up to $20,000. The recovery process requires around 12 people, each needing their own oxygen cylinder, which costs roughly $400 apiece. The total expenses, when you factor in the dangerous conditions, specialized equipment, and the perilous nature of the retrieval, can add up to a small fortune. For many families, the emotional toll of losing a loved one in such a remote and inaccessible place is compounded by the financial burden of attempting to bring them home. Many private companies outright refuse to perform body recoveries due to the immense risk involved. While Everest's death zone holds the record for the highest number of fatalities in a single location, it's not the only dangerous tourist spot that has claimed lives. In Malaga, Spain, there exists a precarious pathway known as El Caminito del Rey. Though it may seem like child's play compared to Everest, this treacherous walkway has its own grim reputation. Originally built in the early 1900s to serve as a simple crossing for hydroelectric plant workers, El Caminito del Rey quickly became infamous for its hazardous conditions. The path clings to the side of a cliff, just 3 feet wide, and stretches over 330 feet above the river below. Imagine standing on a decaying wooden walkway, barely wide enough to fit your feet, with only the sheer cliffside for support. One wrong move, and you could plummet to certain death. The construction of this perilous walkway was far from sophisticated. In an era without modern machinery, workers had to hang from ropes off the side of the mountain while using rudimentary tools to build the path. To make matters worse, many of the workers were prisoners, given the option to participate in this deadly task in exchange for a reduction in their sentences. The project, which started in 1901, was completed in 1905, and in 1921, King Alfonso XIII of Spain famously walked along the pathway during the inauguration of a dam, earning the path its name, El Caminito del Rey, or the King's Little Pathway. Over time, the walkway deteriorated, and by the late 1990s, a series of tragic accidents claimed multiple lives. These accidents led to the partial closure of the path for over a decade. After extensive renovations costing around €9 million, the walkway reopened in 2015, but its reputation as one of the most dangerous walkways in the world remains intact. Another site for thrill seekers is a cliff where danger takes the form of an extreme sport, cliff diving. This particular cliff, which soars 889 feet into the sky, offers no path or trail but is instead a launching point for those brave enough to leap off it. Cliff divers, often participants in Red Bull's extreme cliff diving events, dive from heights equivalent to an 8-story building, plummeting into the water below at speeds of up to 53 miles per hour. At that speed, the impact with the water is enough to exert 5G forces on the body, a level of intensity that can cause even the fittest athletes to feel lightheaded or lose consciousness. While the sport attracts highly trained divers, it is not for the faint of heart. The sheer force of the impact, combined with the extreme precision required to execute a safe dive, makes this one of the most dangerous sports in the world. Finally, Egypt's Blue Hole presents yet another deadly challenge. This serene-looking underwater sinkhole in the Red Sea, often referred to as Divers' Cemetery, has claimed an estimated 200 lives, earning it a dark reputation among divers. The Blue Hole's deceptive beauty conceals a submerged tunnel known as the Arch, which lies 170 feet below the surface. For most recreational divers, this depth is beyond safe limits, and even for experienced technical divers, the arch poses a significant challenge. The tunnel is long, and navigating through it requires careful planning and monitoring of air supply. Divers who misjudge their air consumption or fail to complete their decompression stops risk running out of air or suffering from decompression sickness, both of which can be fatal. While the Egyptian authorities have taken steps to improve safety at the Blue Hole by placing police officers to ensure divers are accompanied by certified guides, the risk remains high. Since 1997, over 130 divers have lost their lives attempting to navigate the Blue Hole, with some estimates placing the total number of fatalities as high as 200. The Blue Hole stands as a sobering reminder that even the most beautiful places can harbor deadly dangers beneath their surface. From the heights of Everest's death zone to the depths of the Blue Hole, these tourist destinations continue to attract adventurers despite the risks they pose. Each of these places offers a unique challenge, but for some, the thrill of conquering the world's most dangerous locations outweighs the potential consequences.